Good afternoon, fans, and welcome to Lemoy Field for this conference finale featuring the visiting Purple Knights of the University of Bridgeport and your post-university Eagles. Prior to today's anthem, we'll do the starting lineups first for the visiting Purple Knights. A graduate forward number 3, Tatiana Lissaraga. A senior forward number 4, Javen Howarth. A junior forward number 6, Chloe Uden. A senior midfielder number 10, Malika Denschel. A senior defender number 12, Christy Yazjeski. A senior defender number 14, Yasmin Liddell. A sophomore midfielder number 16, Nelly Tuitt. A freshman midfielder number 18, Lily Rodriguez. A senior defender number 19, Sage Ewan. A senior midfielder number 13, Brooke Boucher. And in goal, a sophomore number 30, Antia Lopez. The Purple Knights are led by head coach Tanya Armolino. In her third season, assistant coaches Francie Nose, Pedro Oliveira, and Rob Gallucci. And now the starting lineup for your post-university Eagles. In goal, a sophomore number 62, Erin Nisbet. A junior defender number 3, Zoe Meyer. Graduate defender number 4, Bianca Stiles. A sophomore defender number 5, Taylor Morales. A graduate midfielder number 6, Aliana Bodwin. Sophomore forward number 7, Avia Burns. A sophomore midfielder number 10, Reese Klutzer. Senior forward number 11, Anna Ika. A sophomore midfielder number 12, Delia Kotsaftis. Senior forward number 16, Alyssa Hebb. And a sophomore forward number 17, Jordan Callis. Your Eagles are led by head coach Renato Topali in his second season, assistant coaches Adam Sebastian, Maria Montiero, Scott Vanderwall, and Claire Saeed. Fans, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your caps for today's playing of the national anthem. And with that, we welcome you to Lemoy Field for this conference matchup, the final matchup of the season for post-university women's soccer against the in-state rivals, University of Bridgeport Purple Knights. Welcome, fans, into the broadcast booth. I'm Michael Vesci, joining you for this season finale. Griffin Cass couldn't be here today, but he'll be back for the men's soccer game on Sunday, as they will take on a team to be determined in the CACC quarterfinals. But let's set the stage for you here. You heard the lineups, and we're ready to get underway. Bridgeport playing for something today as they look to lock up one of the final few seeds in the CACC tournament. I should say they already have one locked up. They're locking up for seeding with a win today. On the other side, the women's soccer team for Post has struggled this year. They are 2-12, and in conference play 2-7. So they will miss out on the tournament for the 2-8. They will miss out on the conference tournament for the second straight year. However, still something to play for today, and that's for a chance to get that third win of the season, which would be 3 wins at home this year, and also play a little bit of spoiler against these Purple Knights, who are their in-state rival. The Eagles have a short bench today. They will be without Taylor Gottsagen, Christina Fagerman, Larissa Blunchley, Jada Starks, and Hannah Van Sice all due to injuries. Hannah Marriott, who suffered a little bit of a head injury in the last matchup against Georgian Court, is playing today. Avia Burns, who is part of that collision, is in the starting lineup. So the Eagles will have only 2 people on their bench going into this game. It'll be Ree Morrison and Hannah Marriott, who will play the field as number 8. She's played in the field the last few games as Erin Nisbet has manned the goal. Nisbet looking for her first win of the year. So far this year, she is 0-10 in net, but looking to see if she can turn things around against the Purple Knights today, as we are just moments away from kickoff from here at Lemoy Field on the final game of the 2024 season. And fans, we have plenty of other action later on today as the women's volleyball team vies for a top 2 spot in the CACC North. With a win tonight against Dominican, they will clinch a top 2 seed, and that means they will host a home playoff game in the CACC quarterfinals 2 weeks from now on a Tuesday at the Drubner Center against what would be either the 3rd or 4th seed in the CACC South. So a lot of stuff to look forward to today, and then tomorrow we got men's ice hockey kicking off their conference schedule against St. Mike's down in Hamden. Over the weekend, AIC football comes to town to take on Post University football in the season finale for your Eagles. And then after that, we have another edition of men's ice hockey. And then, like I mentioned, on Sunday, we have men's soccer back here at Lemoy Field. Next week, we've got men's ice hockey as well at 8 o'clock against Westfield State on Tuesday night, which will be back at the Sports Center of CT. So we have plenty of action for you over the next few days. It all started yesterday with men's soccer, who got a win over Bridgeport 3-0. They clinched their 4th straight regular season CACC title with that one, and they will look to get their 6th consecutive CACC championship starting in a few days, obviously, like I mentioned, on Sunday. Both teams have taken the field. We went through the starting lineups, and again, for the Eagles, it's Meyer, Stiles, Morales, Bodwin, Burns, Klutzer, Ika, Kasaftis, Heb, Callis, and then in net, Erin Nisbet. On the other side, Lissaraga, Howarth, Udin, Dienchel, Yazjeski, Little, Tuit, Yusin, Rodriguez, Boucher, and then in net is the sophomore goalie Lopez. So that sets the field, and it looks like Jordan Callis will be there for the opening kickoff. As the Eagles will kick off, they will be going from right to left. Bridgeport from left to right as we are set to kick things off here as Bridgeport breaks their huddle. And Lopez will take the goal, and we'll get underway with the first 45 on a beautiful day here from Lemoy Field, in which it's about 65, 70 degrees, a light breeze today just like there was yesterday. A perfect day for a November game, which you don't see many of these in New England this time of year. It's usually a little chillier, but we'll take what we can get, and it looks like another beautiful day on Sunday for both sides. Callis ready to go, and she kicks it into the backfield over to Heb, who kicks it over to the right side to Morales. Again, these Eagles 2-12, but they fought hard. Again, they lost 5-0 to Georgian Court in the last match on the road, but a lot of injuries. They were playing with only 8 field players at times in that game due to all those injuries. So now with a full squad of 10 field players and 1 goalie, we'll see if they can do something at full strength and hopefully not have any other injury issues today, as that first shot on goal by Dinchel is saved there by Nisbet, goes out of bounds, and I believe that's going to be a corner kick for Bridgeport. So right away, not even a minute into this game, Purple Knights getting the offense going. Morales was dispossessed in the backfield, and then ever since then, Purple Knights possessing it, moving it around to get it deep into Eagles territory. And now it will, in fact, be Dinchel taking that one for the corner. Dinchel firing into the box, and nobody able to get a head on it, and then somebody does. Oh, man, and I believe that's an own goal. So it looks like it went off of a Bridgeport player. Couldn't quite see from up here. Zoe Meyer looked to head it out, and she headed it off the crossbar. Now, I did see number 4, Howarth, get a piece of it. I don't know if that was before or after across the goal. Looks like they'll give it to Howarth. Meyer, though, a little bit of an assist on that one, unfortunately. It won't go down as an own goal because it looks like Howarth did get a little bit on it. So right away, exactly a minute into this game, it's already 1-0 Bridgeport on the goal by Howarth. And the Eagles trail 1-0. Again, with it in the backfield is Stiles, looking to get it out to midfield. Trying to get you numbers on that one for Howarth. That's the senior's first goal of the season. That'll go down as an unassisted one as Meyer helped out on it. Howarth making her first start of the season as well, according to the stat sheet we got from the University of Bridgeport's website. A little bit of a different lineup, I would have to assume, with this being the final game of the season, especially with Bridgeport being in the CACC tournament. You don't want to always go all out at times because you run the risk of injury going into the playoffs, and you don't want that, especially with that starting in a few days. As Bridgeport coming back fast down the field with this one, kicking it ahead to Lizarraga, and she's got space. Nice save by Nisbet. She jumps on it. And Lizarraga nearly had a second chance opportunity, but Nisbet able to cover. Nearly a 2-0 lead already, less than 2.5 minutes into this one for the Purple Knights. Again, the Eagles do have a full team on the field today, but are short on the bench. So a lot of this will come down to, if they want to stay in this game, playing a little bit more conservative to not get too tired too early, because they're not going to have a lot of people for rest. And then over there with it right now is Uden. She works around. Looks like that Styles is unable to get anywhere with it, and then Dienschel with it pushes it back out. A little bit hard to see the numbers at times here. That was Tuitt kicking it into the box. Meyer kicking it dangerously towards Nisbet, but she's able to grab it. Whistle blown for offsides, though, anyways, on Howarth. And it'll be a goal kick for Nisbet here with 3 minutes gone by. 2 shots on goal already for Bridgeport. Again, if you're just joining us, Howarth with the goal right away off the corner kick from Dienschel. It was hit by a Bridgeport player, but then Zoe Meyer headed it towards the crossbar, and then Howarth was able to get a piece of it. Now Howarth looking for 2, crosses it in, and it looks like she was trying to hit Uden with the pass, unable to do so. And then flying in for the shot is Boucher. She kicks it wide. That'll be, looks like a corner kick. Yep, going into the corner with it is Dienschel. Couldn't quite tell from my angle if that was tipped. It was, in fact, tipped. And Dienschel with another chance here. Again, now so far today, because we're only 4 minutes into the game, the Purple Knights 1 for 1 on corner kicks, being able to score off of them on that set piece. Dienschel will look to fire in now here, and she does. Towards the middle of the net, a little bit long, and then it's tipped just outside. It looks like Meyer and Styles may have gotten pieces of it to get it out of there, and must have hit off of somebody from Bridgeport on the way there too. As it'll be a goal kick for Nisbet now with 4 minutes gone by. Clouds starting to come in a little bit overhead. Makes it a little more chilly. Nisbet kicks this one away to about the 45-yard line, where Klutzer is there to grab it. Eagles not able to get any possession on the offensive end of the field right now. The Purple Knights bringing all sorts of pressure, and it goes right back to the Purple Knights on a throw-in for Ewan. Meyer now heading it out, just trying to get the defense back and set, and then throwing it in again will, in fact, be Ewan. So Bridgeport quickly advancing down the field with 5 minutes gone by here to try and continue to get those offensive looks. Over there with it is Dienschel. She kicks it down low, and that's going to be Boucher with it dispossessed by, it looks like, Ika. Ika looks to fire it in, and that's headed away by Jazdowski, excuse me. And then back down with it is Boucher. Boucher with a head of steam. Fires it by Nisbet. No, that's going to go over to the right side to Javen Howarth. Have yourself a day so far, Howarth. Less than 5 minutes into the contest, Javen Howarth with 2 goals. Give that assist to Brooke Boucher on the nice cross. Few people in front for the Purple Knights there, but this offense rolling early. That's 2 goals for Howarth, her first 2 of the season. Purple Knights lead 2-0 with just under 5 minutes gone by here in the first half. Again, like I mentioned at the start of this broadcast, with only having 2 people on defense, the Eagles are going to have to play a little more conservatively in terms of how much they give going left to right, right to left on the field, because you don't want to get too tired too early, especially with the way Bridgeport's come out, applying that pressure, forcing the Eagles to get out in transition and run. It forces you to use a little more energy early on, and with them already being able to convert on 2 opportunities, if they keep the pedal to the metal, there's a good chance they're going to be able to get a few more goals, especially in the second half if this Eagles defense starts to wear down due to fatigue. Although, again, it's still too early. If the Eagles are able to kind of get better control of possession of the ball, there's a very good chance that they can control the pace of play. Right now, though, Bridgeport dictating every aspect of this game from left to right, as another beautiful pass in there to Boucher is kicked away, blocked by Ika. It'll be a corner kick, though, and that'll be Dienschel going into the corner to take it again. So you saw right there that breakout. Quickly the Eagles had the ball towards the center of the field, and then right away, it's just when those Purple Knights get the ball, they're often running to the races with it and forcing the Eagles to get back quickly. Dienschel going to take this one from the left side of the pitch on your screen. That one's going to be headed out by Ika. It looks like Morales racing over to a nice slide to get it out of there over to midfield where it's picked up by Liddell. Liddell kicks it into the backfield where it'll be corralled there by Tuitt. Tuitt kicking over to Lopez, her first touch of the day as the Eagles have not been able to get the ball into the offensive half of the field. Now right back with it is Uden. Uden kicking it across, and here we go again with Howarth. But Nisbet gets out of the goal in time to get it. And I should mention, too, in the last home game that the Eagles played here, Chestnut Hill had a 4-goal scorer in that one, nearly had 5. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. We'll look into it when I have a chance. But there was 4 goals from that one player, and nearly had a 5th, but because of an offsides, wasn't able to get it. Eagles lost that one 4-3. They did get 2 goals in the final few minutes. As you see, Klutzer breaking out here on the offensive end, looking to just get something on net. Going to go wide. And Lopez will pick it up. I think they were trying to get like Callis or somebody down there to get that one on the cross. It looks like it was either a cross or a shot trying to be taken there by Klutzer. With the Eagles down by 2, that's their first offensive chance of the day. Right back with it come the Purple Knights. Heb able, though, to knock it back into the offensive side of the field. Callis now, but it goes right back to Bridgeport. Lizarraga down with it over to Howarth. Howarth now going to cut it back in on Meyer. Howarth kicks it across over to Boucher, and Boucher with some open space, and I believe they're going to call a foul on Boucher, so it'll be Eagles ball. That was Rebecca Dalton. Thank you, Grace Glassard, who's on the production today. Rebecca Dalton had the 4 goals for Chestnut Hill in the last home game for the Eagles, and so far today, Javen Howarth with 2 of her own, and nearly had a shot at a 3rd there few minutes ago. And what I've noticed, and it was the same with when Dalton was on the pitch again with Chestnut Hill, is the opponent seems to be attacking the right side of the Eagles defense in the last couple of games, and it's worked out successfully there. Howarth already has 2 from the right side. Dalton had a couple from the right side. So I think teams have started to figure out, attack the right side. Maybe they find, again, it's not to call anybody out when it comes to defensive side of things. Maybe they found that the right side is a little bit weaker in terms of either the help defense to get over or the initial player that's playing on the right side of the pitch. So they're attacking that side. Again, it's not to discredit any players on the Eagles. It just might be something that may be a strategy that teams are employing against them to score those goals because of how much we've seen be attacked on the right side in the last couple of games that have led to 2 goal scorers essentially accounting for the last 6 goals opponents have scored here at Lemoy Field. It's not a lot of spreading the wealth, and as I mention it, it's Howarth down the right side of the pitch yet again. I don't think she's going to be able to get that one close to the goal if she wants to. Oh no, she's going to get by Meyer. Now she's got space. Howarth in dangerous territory is going to be pushed out by Bodwin though, and now that's kicked back out to number 18 Rodriguez, and then that one's fired on net wide. I think that was Howarth again who just shot it. So Nisbet will get a goal kick. About 10 minutes gone by, and the Bridgeport offense is humming along here, getting plenty of opportunities against Aaron Nisbet and this Eagles defense. Again, attacking that right side a lot so far. We'll see if that keeps up in this half, and then in the second half when they switch sides, if it's a reverse of field or if they're just more comfortable going down this side in general, closest to where you're seeing on the camera. We'll see again how as the game progresses, how the teams decide to attack things. Stiles is able to get a foot on that one and push it over to Klutzer, over to Heb, and now down the right side with his Ika onto the offensive side of the pitch. We've only seen, I think, 3 or 4 offensive rushes so far for the Eagles so far in the first 10 minutes. Defense for Bridgeport not having to do too much so far. If you have Burns in the box with the chances, that one was pushed in, but Lopez is going to pick it up out of harm's way. No harm, no foul for Bridgeport. Lopez will look to kick that one out of there momentarily. Wind picking up a little bit here, and we'll see if it affects that kick at all by Lopez. A beautiful kick, probably about 40 yards or so. Stiles is able to get that one, and it's taken away there by Lizarraga with the shot. It's tipped off of Nisbet's hands, but she gets to it before Howarth. Been saying her name a lot in these first few minutes. Nearly had an opportunity at a hat trick. Rebecca Dalton had her hat trick, I believe it was about 25 minutes into the game or so, and Howarth looked to nearly beat that record right there. Purple Knights working it back in their half of the pitch. Liddell with it currently. Now over to the right side, left side, excuse me. If it's hard for me to tell if I'm just saying the left side when it comes to the players who have the ball, especially for Bridgeport, because we're not as familiar with those players, because it's a little bit harder to see the numbers from our angle to see who is over there. That was this Dean Shell who did just land on the ground. Morales now throws it in, and then that was Heb kicking it in. Again, same thing with some of our players too. And we got a yellow card, it looks like, on, I believe that was just awarded to, no, thought it was awarded to Alyssa Heb. But obviously, since Post has the ball, it wouldn't be Alyssa Heb. It was awarded to Dean Shell for the Purple Knights. Dean Shell with it. Although I did see Uden raise her hands and question the call, so I don't know if it was that. We'll get clarification at halftime. That one was kicked in deep by Heb and headed out by the Bridgeport defense. So that'll be the first corner kick opportunity of the afternoon for the Eagles. And I believe that's Anna Ika who will take it. Yep, Anna Ika. Numbers are a little bit hard to see for Post 2, and they have a few double-digit numbers who have the same hairstyle. So, again, from the longer distance, a little bit harder to see. So I apologize if I get the wrong person in the moment. Ika kicks this one into the box. That one's going to be pushed out. Klutzer was over on the right side, was trying to get a number to see who it was, trying to get over there to do something with it. That one's going to be fired on by Ika. Lopez dives on it. No harm there as the Eagles were kind of retreating from the box anyway. So Lopez with the easy pick. Not even 15 minutes gone by here. Bridgeport already with a myriad of opportunities to score, and they already have 2 goals thanks to Javen Howarth, who I believe, I don't have the stats pulled up in front of me, has, I think, 4 shots already in this game and has scored twice. Bridgeport retains possession as that one was knocked off of an Eagle defender. And throwing it down to the offensive end of the field. So what we did just see over those last couple of minutes, though, was a nice rush by the Eagles to get onto the offensive end and try to make something happen there. And they did have a couple of shot opportunities against Lopez, so really good to see that as the Eagles offense is trying to get something going here against Bridgeport. No shots on goal yet for them, but they did have a couple of opportunities in the box. So like I mentioned, even though they're playing with a short bench, this is a team that even when they're losing 4-3, 5-0 in these last couple of games, they're showing a lot of intensity and still a lot of effort to try and get those offensive opportunities. And again, you can't really also look at the shots because they have been outshot heavily almost all year, allowing 20-plus shots per game. And offensively, they're not getting too many shots on goal and in general. But those shots that they have been getting have been high quality to the point where they're able to get opportunities to score. And we saw a couple right there. Even if it doesn't show up in the box score, they did have some high-quality chances. And that's the difficult thing about reading a soccer box score is all you see is the shots on goal, the shots themselves, the saves, corner kicks, and fouls. But it doesn't always tell the full story of the game unless you're watching live with us here on YouTube or on the CACC network, because sometimes offensive opportunities that don't always generate a shot that counts towards that total doesn't show up in the box score. So, a few things to note. Like to mention that throughout the game as this one's coming down the right side of the pitch again. It's going to be Uden. Bodwin now looks like she's shading a little bit deeper on her as Myers farther back with the help. Lizarraga now crossing it. Howarth right there, but Nisbet's going to jump in front before Howarth can get across. Howarth so far with 2 goals, 3 shots in total, 2 shots on goal. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but in her case, she's made 66% of the shots she's taken so far today. 66.6% if you want to be exact. Purple Knights retaining it in the back side of the pitch. Yazjeski with it, now kicking it ahead. Can't see the number on that side because of the distance, but that's Boucher. Boucher cutting across. Boucher crossing it in. Oh, nearly out of harm's way there. It looks like that was off of Stiles, and it almost went towards the net again. And again, from my vantage point, that's what it looked like. It is possible that it was offline completely the entire way, but the way Nisbet ran towards it made me think that it looks like it was headed towards the net. It is going to be a corner kick, though, for the Purple Knights. Styles, and I couldn't see the other number down there. It looked like it went off of Styles, though, towards the net, but it went out of harm's way, thankfully for the Eagles, so that would have gone down as an own goal. Lily Rodriguez going to take the corner kick from this side. Rodriguez booting it really long. A header towards the box. Can't see the number right now. I believe that was Yazjeski. So Yazjeski with the nice header there, but it's kicked away. But now the Purple Knights just coming right back at it. As that's Liddell coming across, and then, oh man, a nice cross by Boucher. Wasn't able to get it to where she wanted to, though. And Styles gets it out of harm's way. Styles is doing it all herself, carrying it 50 yards up the field, and now getting it ahead to, I believe that's, oh! That was Ika up there. It was hard to tell. I can't really tell from here. Alyssa Hebb, Reese Klutzer, and Anna Ika are all playing in the same general triangle area. So sometimes I'm confusing the three. So if I pause briefly, that's why. Trying to make sure I call out the right person. Don't want to get that wrong. Coming right back with it is Boucher. Boucher looks to get around Styles. She does. Oh my gosh, Erin Nisbet, what a save. Right back with it is Lizaraga. And it goes out of play. Erin Nisbet, again, to her credit so far in this game, the defense has struggled at times to stop that speed of the Purple Knights. But Erin Nisbet has been up to the challenge, making some great saves. You just saw another one there. She had one earlier against Howarth as well. So Nisbet has been all over the place in the goal, making a few saves so far in this one. And in the two scenarios where she did give up the one that happened, it was Zoe Myers off of her head, and then just a no-doubter there by Howarth earlier in the situation she was facing one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Bridgeport throwing in now over to Boucher and then kicking it back out. I believe that was to Yazjeski. Towards Howarth in the box. And then Uden now is going to fire it wide. Good shot there by Uden. Jess goes to the right of the goal mouth where Nisbet is. Score remains 2-0. Goal kick coming here for Nisbet. 27 minutes left in the first half, so about 20 minutes gone by here or so. Eagles trailing 2-0 in their season finale. Again, like I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, coming into this game, they're already eliminated from contention. But even though their record has them at 2-12, obviously, and their record in conference has them at 2-8, they were still alive up until the Chestnut Hill College game and controlled their own destiny. Just had to win out at that point. But with the loss to Chestnut Hill at that point, the two teams ahead of them in Goldie Beacom and Chestnut Hill both had 4 wins. The most the Eagles could get in conference at that point was 4. And because Chestnut Hill and Goldie Beacom both had beaten them, they wouldn't have been able to get anyways because of the tiebreaker scenario. But again, even though you look at a record and say, well, they're 2-12 on the year, they were still fighting for a playoff spot up until the final few games of this season. And on top of that, again, you look across their resume this year of games that they've played, it's not like this team at 2-12 has been blown out a bunch. Yes, they were blown out against Georgian Court in their last game, 5-0, but important to note, they were playing with 8 players, field players, for a lot of the second half and part of the first half, which also contributes to a lot more space for the other team to get shots on goal, get scoring opportunities. But for the most part, this team has played their opponents close, despite what their record shows. Again, the record doesn't always paint the full picture, too, of what you see in a season. A few bad breaks go your way or the opposite way, and just like that, you have a whole different record. You could be looking at a team that has 6 wins on the year instead of 2. Down the right side with it, Iko was streaking but not able to get there as Lopez is going to grab it for a goal kick. On the Bridgeport side of things, they come into the game 6-8-3, 5-5 in conference. Again, I mentioned they already locked up a CACC tournament spot. Kind of in the middle of the pack right now in terms of the standings, and there's a lot to be decided still with seeding scenarios on that side. Kind of like we talked about on the men's side for the Eagles, still waiting their opponent, Holy Family and Jefferson, take on each other today. Winner of that game will end up playing the Eagles, and then if they tie, I don't know the tiebreakers, and I'm not going to try and decipher them to figure it out. I'll leave that up to the folks at the CACC to figure out who will be playing in the first round. So in a tie scenario, both teams would be tied for the 8th seed, and then it'll come down to tiebreakers at that point. But we do know the winner of that game, if a team wins it, will play Post University here at 1 o'clock at Lemoy Field. in the CACC quarterfinals. Bridgeport controlling the pace of play still in this one. On the defensive side of things, we've seen a few rushes from the Eagles in the last couple of minutes, and now they're trying to push it up the field once more. That was just Liddell over to Uden, and now Lizarraga kicking it across, but unable to get it there. Myers now going to get it out to Kotsaftis. Avia Burns now across the field. I should mention, too, this is a young Eagles squad. And, again, they fell on some bad luck due to some injuries early in the season, which is why they're playing a little undermanned in terms of the rest of the way. Here as Klutzer's going to fly in. A nice slide tackle there by Ewan helps break it up. I believe that's going to be a corner kick. But this is a very young Eagles team that a lot of these players were not starting last year and had to jump into starting roles this year because of all the seniors. I believe it was 8 or 9 seniors left the squad last year who were either seniors or grad students. And with that, ushered in a new era of talent that have joined the squad or were on the squad that last year that may have been watching more so from the bench, but getting minutes off of the bench. So again, a lot of growing pains you're going to go through in your first few years, but a very young squad as Ika's going to kick that one in the box. Bowdoin looked to get a head on it, wasn't able to, and I believe that was Boucher who got a foot on it, kicked it out, and Bridgeport comes out with it. So in Renato Topali's second season with the team, it's not the records you want, obviously, but it's important to note this is a very young squad. Howarth now coming down with it, kicking it ahead to Lizarraga. Lizarraga, with plenty of room, puts that one into the back of net. Javen Howarth gets it to Tatiana Lizarraga for her first goal of the day, and the Purple Knights now lead 3-0. That's Lizarraga's third goal of the season. Howarth also picking up her first assist of the season. So have yourself a day so far, Javen Howarth. She's been a participant in all 3 goals in some capacity. Just to note, Howarth now has 5 points on the year. All 5 have come today. Lizarraga up to 7 points now after that. Chloe Uden also got an assist on that goal, too. So Uden with an assist as well. That's her second of the year, so she's up to 4 points now.
Open your hip, come on.
As the Eagles looking to get something going offensively. Like I was mentioning before that goal, a very young team that is going to go through their growing pains, but they have a lot of these players returning next year too. Boucher, though, as I'll hold that thought right now, Boucher coming in with his Uden, but she's offside, so Uden offsides will get a goal kick for Nisbet. A free kick for the Eagles. So with that being said, young squad, and you've got only a couple of seniors. We honored a few in Hannah Marriott, Bianca Stiles, looking through the list, Anna Ika as well, Alyssa Hebb, Larissa Blunchley. I know for a fact a few of them are done. I don't know if Hannah Marriott is back or not. I don't believe she is. Aliana Bodwin, even though she's a grad student, does have another year, so she will be back next year. Again, with the whole COVID year, too, that they got back, or some people got back in 2020, kind of makes it hard to remember who's actually still got eligibility and who doesn't. But for the most part, we do know that Stiles is playing her last game today. Ika is playing her last game today. Hebb is playing her last game today. Blunchley had her season come to an end, as it looks like we're going to get a foul in the box. I believe that was Taylor Morales on Howarth. And we're going to get a penalty kick here. See who takes it. Will it be Howarth going for the hat trick? I see Uden, though, over near the dot. I think it's going to be Uden taking it. A little bit of a late whistle there, but it's going to be Chloe Uden, who just had an assist on the last goal, looking to see if she can put one in the back and then make this game 4-0 with about 25 minutes gone by here. See which way Uden's going to go. Referees making sure that players are outside of the box, because if it is saved, play does just continue from there. Uden ready, gets a running start. Fires it in, and oh, Nisbet nearly had the save there, but it squeaks past her hands. And that's a goal for Chloe Uden, her second of the season. So she's having herself a day, too, on top of Howarth. Chloe Uden, second goal of the year, now 5 points overall. So she's got a goal and an assist today. Tatiana Lissaraga with a goal. So far today, you've got Lissaraga with a goal, Uden with a goal, Howarth with 2 goals, assists for Howarth, Uden, and that's it. According to what I have on my thing, although we don't have the live stats pulled up to check that one live. And we also do go back during the halftime and the other breaks to make sure that we get the numbers right in terms of assists and make sure we have the right number of assists. In the backfield with it is Bridgeport. Ree Morrison checked into the game. She's now on the field. She's a freshman from New Zealand. Like I was mentioning before, the penalty kick as well. This is a young team who's going to see a lot of these players return next year. So with a year, and again, it's important to note because you have a lot of sophomores on this team who I mentioned did come off the bench last year with the talent that was here from the senior class that just left. Then now that these sophomores have had a year under their belt, they get a feel for the game playing more regular minutes. It helps, too, with conditioning because you're seeing the field a lot more and playing at game speed constantly. Now you have a year under your belt. You can go into next year with a little bit more momentum and feel that, okay, things are going to maybe be a little different because now you kind of know what you're going against. You know the opponents you're going against. You know the players, the teams, what they have, what they don't have, where their weaknesses, where their strengths might be, and attack all those different areas based on that. But now you have a full year under your belt. So a little bit of a growing pains here, but it will show, I think, next year with this team that's young, that this year of growth will help them next year to pick up some more wins and get back into the CACC tournament hopefully next year. Free ball, though, coming down the pitch with it is number 22, Lundberg. She's turned away. It looked like she had space. Excuse me, that was Lundeberry. But the Eagle defense able to recover. 18 and a half minutes remaining here in the first half. Mike Vesey joining you here for the season finale for Post University Women's Soccer, who trails currently 4-0 against Bridgeport. And if you're around, either on campus, online, you want to watch some volleyball tonight, our women's volleyball team will be playing at home 6 o'clock in the Drubner Center against Dominican. Chance to lock up a top 2 seed in the CACC North, trying to get that CACC North regular season title. They can't clinch it tonight, but they can put it on ice pretty much with a win today. Klutzer with it after that kick by Nisbet. Klutzer trying to dance around some Purple Knights, get it over to Burns, unable to do so. But Ika's right there. She heads it towards the middle, and it's kicked out by the Purple Knights. I believe that was Liddell getting rid of it. Back into the offensive end with it is Bridgeport. That's Londonberry. And she's going to get it over to Macedo. Macedo is going to be stripped of it, though, by Bodwin. And Bodwin's just going to kick it out of bounds harmlessly. Substitute coming in for Purple Knights. That's going to be Nito. Daniela Nito, the freshman midfielder from Miami, Florida, enters. And as well with her is Sandra Pedersen from Zealand, Denmark. So a couple of quick changes there for the Purple Knights. Clock stopped at 17:16. Howarth's got it. Howarth down the pitch, getting it over to Macedo. Macedo is not going to be able to get there. That should be a goal kick. It will be a goal kick.
in the run. Not good. You can go backwards.
Nisbet with the kick from the goal mouth. It's kicked down by Mazza. Morales nearly trips over the ball. And into the backfield with it is Bodwin. Bodwin now kicking it ahead to Klutzer. Tried to get it to Morrison, not able to do so. And then Morrison able to recover, get it. Klutzer, some nice footwork there to keep that ball in bounds. But Liddell is going to strip it away and then go the other way with it, and now Mazza with it. Trying to dance around Klutzer. Kicking it is Ewan over to the right side. Bridgeport's been very methodical, I will say, with their offensive approach. Like I said, it's not like they're just running and gunning it up the field. They're working their pieces in the backfield, as that should be a foul on Heb. It will be. Lundberry went flying on that one. Bridgeport's been very purposeful with all of their passing in terms of making sure that they kind of, I think, set their offense down the field and attack those weak points of the post defense. They got off to a very auspicious start. Bridgeport with it in the back. Ewan with it. Offensive side of the field trying to work against Morrison, and then over to Howarth. Howarth gets it over to Nito. Nito over to Liddell. Passing lane picked up there by Ica. It's kicked away. Excuse me, Nieto. And then Luisa Macedo just put it in the back of the net while I was looking down, and I completely missed it because it was out at about the 25-yard line. So I apologize for missing the call on that one. Macedo puts one in the back of the net, and it's 5-0 Bridgeport, and it's the first half. Eagles still looking for their first shot on goal, too. They've had a few opportunities offensively. So Luisa Macedo with the goal. Get you a check on what number that was. Four goals on the year now for Macedo. Everybody up here was trying to figure out what exactly happened because there was a handball called seconds before that, which is where I went to check my notes. And as I went to check my notes, I heard cheering from the Bridgeport side of the field, only to find the ball had already found the back of the net. For the fifth goal of the afternoon for the Purple Knights, Avia Burns with it on the offensive end, and that was just sucked up there by Pedersen. Howarth kicking it towards the middle. Bodwin is going to pick it up. Now, on the Bridgeport side of things, this gives you a lot of momentum rolling into the tournament in terms of, you know, you get a big win over a conference opponent, you lock up your seeding wherever that may be, and now you get to head in the conference tournament on a high note. For the Eagles, this is how you have to approach this game over the next 55 minutes or so. Don't look at it from a perspective of this is a blowout, this is over, and this is how our season's ending. Look at it from the perspective of what we can we build off in these last 55-ish minutes or so. What can we build off of in these next 55 minutes that we can take into our spring season where we come back to the pitch and kind of work with each other so we get ready for next fall? Don't look at this game as a negative, as that one's tiptoed across the line. They said it was out at the last minute before a shot was taken there by Lundberry. So don't look at this game in a negative if you're on the Eagles side of things, no matter how high the score may get in this match, because you get a feel just with the way it's gone so far that the Purple Knights are probably going to be able to put one or two in the net just with the way the game is flowing, unless this Eagles defense is really able to clamp down on them in the second half and in the rest of this first half. But use this as a building block for the spring season and take it into next fall. Don't just look at it as a negative as our season ended at 2-13. Do some things in these next 55-ish minutes or so that you can carry with you on into the spring season. We'll see what that looks like. And I'll try and see if I pick up on a few things that I notice as this game goes on to kind of foreshadow we may see, as that was clearly a hit by Klutzer. You can't push him down to the ground like that. She's upset with the call, but it was clear as day that she pushed, couldn't see who it was. I believe that was Ewan, pushed her from behind. And so now it's going to be a free kick for Bridgeport on their end of the field. So an offensive opportunity, or chance I should say, kind of lost there for the Eagles due to the foul. Stops play, allows Bridgeport to move up and get a free kick and kind of wail on it to get it out of their zone. Liddell with it, and she's going to kick it ahead, and now it goes down the pitch. Stiles going to race to it to knock off Boucher from getting there first. Kicks it out of play. And in some of those scenarios, you might be asking yourself at home, if you're not too familiar with soccer, and look, I'm not going to say I know all about soccer. I don't know too much either. But in certain scenarios like that, you might be saying, why is she kicking it out of bounds? Because Bridgeport's going to get the ball back. But the reason you do that is you give your defense a rest, because now they had subs that just came in. You give the defense a rest as Howarth just came off. Give the defense a little bit of a rest, get them set back on defense so that when Bridgeport comes down the pitch with this, they're facing 5 or 6 Eagles defenders as opposed to 2 or 3, depending on how fast everybody's able to get back. Because that was a good, I'd say, 20-second break there that allowed the Eagles defense to get reset and get down the pitch. But Bridgeport still coming fast with the offense, and in the box with it is number 22, Ellen Lundeberry, buries the shot. 6-0 Bridgeport. So Lundeberry puts one in the back of the net. That's 6 goals in this first half for the Bridgeport Purple Knights. That's her first goal of the season. And the Purple Knights really pouring it on in this first half. Still 10 minutes to go, by the way. In the first half, if you're just tuning in, 2 goals early on from Javen Howarth, who just exited the game. And then it's kind of been by committee the rest of the way for Bridgeport. We'll recap it going into the second half, all the goals that did happen. Klutzer's going to just try and fire that one. It's wide of the net. So they'll still not have their first shot on goal. That was a shot, but it was off target. Hannah Marriott looks like she's going to get ready to check in. Marriott, I'll tell you the story when she gets on the pitch, actually. Bodwin, a little bit of a frustration foul there. She just kind of took the legs out from underneath Macedo. I'm actually really confused on what's going on there. It looks like, so Klutzer and Morrison were arguing that the ball should have been taken out closer to the line than it was. And the refs didn't halt the play there to do so. Heb just kicks it away. Lopez now is going to kick it back towards center. That ball goes out of play. It's Bridgeport ball. Just about 9.5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Again, if you're just joining us, Mike Vesci on the call for this one. It's 6-0 Bridgeport. And Marriott was looking to sub in, and they told her no. So Hannah comes off the pitch again. So again, Marriott will be coming on shortly into this one. A little bit of confusion on what was going on there. Bridgeport foul there. Couldn't see who it was on, but Morrison looks to be the recipient of it. And I'm really not sure what's going on all of a sudden, that these past about 30 seconds have looked a little bit discombobulated in general from Post with the awareness of what's going on the pitch. We just saw Hannah Marriott accidentally run on for a sub, and then the ball just got kicked away, and nobody went to go grab it for either side, especially because it's a Post free kick. Post should probably have come to get that one, but we're set now. 8:19 to go. And counting, 6-0 Bridgeport. Heb will kick this one away, and I got to think she'll probably fire it on goal because she does have a strong leg to do so. Heb does just that, and it's going to go up and over. I don't know if it went through the field goal post or not, but up and over. And now we have the sub. Hannah Marriott now can enter the game with 7:55 to go. She comes in for Delia Kotsaftis. So Marriott, if you can see it probably on the camera, is wearing a headband, and underneath is some kind of padding or gauze of some sort. In that last game against Georgian Court, she went up for a header on the corner kick alongside, a clear of a corner kick that Post had in the offensive end. She went up with Avia Burns to try and grab it, and it seems, I can't tell from the broadcast, and I don't have confirmation on exactly where they made contact. It looked like they hit heads with each other, and Marriott had to receive 20 stitches to patch up a little bit of a cut that she got from that sustain. But she is playing with the padding and the protection to be able to play without harming or potentially risking injury to that site where she got the stitches done. Marriott has played a lot of these games in the second half in the field, as this one's kicked ahead to Macedo and nearly had her second of the day, but a nice kick away by Bodwin and Nisbet there. Marriott now is going to come back with it, her first touch of the game. And a little bit of a grab there and a push. I'm surprised she got away with both of those against Gunnarsson. Probably couldn't see it from the camera angle here, but Marriott did get away with a little bit of a jersey tug and then a bump of Gunnarsson, who was on the ball on that one. Morales now to throw in with 6:25 remaining. Gunnarsson now heads it back towards the middle. Macedo tries to grab it. A little bit of a clash there between Bodwin and Londonberry. Now that one's fired on net just wide by Pia Laura Wisniewski, who entered the game off the bench. Bridgeport, for the most part, I will say, has brought in a lot of their backups now at this point, with the score being 6-0, compared to what they had for the starters. So they brought in a lot of the bench players as this first half has worn on. And we got a foul here, and Ree Morrison is down. Morrison, I will say, too, did suffer an injury in the last game. I believe it was what they called in the broadcast was a hand injury in the last game. And it looks like she got hit up around the chest arm area right there. But it looks like she's all good, and she'll continue on here. Again, the Eagles only have 2 bench players, and you only get so many subs per half. So if they sub out of the game, then they can't come back in. Marriott's going to fire that one on net, high and wide of the goal mouth. Lopez backs into the back of the net.
See, just make sure we engage and don't just stick out a light, kid, okay? You got it?
Alan and Lou, one of us can go to the middle, not both of us. See who's going, who's checking in.
Eagles played at home this year 8 times. We're 2-6 with wins over Felician and Lincoln here at home. Nieto was dispossessed from it by Heb. And now Meyer's going to try and fire it in, excuse me. That was Jajeski who was trying to get it out, but then Heb kept it in. Marriott playing close to this side. It's kicked out by Ewan to midfield. Stiles now going to try and clear it away from Lundberry. Throw in there by Ewan comes into play, and Ewan now gets it back after Mazza kicked it to her. Towards the middle of the field with Bridgeport. You're seeing their pace slowed down a little more. They came out really aggressive, guns blazing, controlling the pace of play. They're still controlling the pace of play, don't get me wrong. But they're not coming with those hard runs every single time like they were before. However, now Lundberry is trying to cross that one over to Gunnarsson. The benefit, I will say, too, if you're on the Bridgeport side of things, is you get to see some of your other pieces play into this offense, get them some minutes to help get them kind of ready for the tournament unless they're called upon in a next-man-up mentality sort of phase. So this kind of works both ways with both teams in terms of how they approach this. That one's going to be crossed by Leak, and then it's fired on net. I believe I couldn't see it because I was looking down at my notes again. Nieto, high and wide of the net. 3:30 to go here in the first half. Bridgeport 6, Post University nothing. At the moment, this is their largest margin of deficit at home since last year's game against Southern Connecticut, which they also lost 6-0. Believe I would have to double check. This is their also largest deficit of the season at 6-0. Previous one would have been 5-0 against Georgian Court. Eagles have not won a game this year when they have given up more than 3 goals in a match. Heb going to fire that one towards the box. It's headed away by Yazjeski. Now running out with it is Gunnarsson. Marriott chasing fast. I think that ball went out of bounds, and the ref on the near end here does agree with me. So we'll play on here with Taylor Morales throwing it in from the offensive side of the field. Morales throws it in to Klutzer. Klutzer back out to Morales. And now Bodwin tried to get it deep into the box, and that was off of Macedo. Jumped in front of it. And now Burns goes after it, unable to get it, and Liddell is going to get it. Back into the backfield with it is the Bridgeport defense. Kind of just playing keep away, really, in these last couple of minutes with it. Coming down with it is Gunnarsson now, towards the middle. Gunnarsson now going to push it across to Macedo. Macedo down the right side, which we've talked about to Londonberry. Morales tried to get off of it with her, tried to get her off it, wasn't able to, and now Londonberry fires high and wide of the net, and that one goes completely out of play. Stuck in the netting just over the cage. 1.5 minutes to go here in the first half of play. If you hear me doing the 1 minute remaining or the countdown from 10, that's just because it's part of the job and what comes with it today with what we're doing here from Lemoy Field. Nisbet kicks this one away, about to the 30-ish yard line. And now Bodwin kicks it out to Morales, who tries to keep it in play, not able to do so. It'll be a throw in here for the Purple Knights with 1:15 to go in the first half. One minute remaining in the first half. Now Bodwin with it, kicks it over to Morales, and it just goes out of play. Morales unable to keep her foot on that one. It goes out, and it'll be Bridgeport ball again. Throwing it on the near side, cannot see it through the windscreen in front of us. And, yep, so that right there, Macedo had the ball. Bodwin not happy with the call, but Bodwin clearly did push off of her to try and dispossess it. And I see both sides of it with it, where in terms of you're playing aggressive, trying to play the ball, and you're trying to just get a little bit of a nudge on them. But when you extend those arms into the back of the person that you're trying to defend, they're going to call that. And they've called it twice now against Eagles players who have done it, much to the dismay of the post players. But it is the right call in that case as we go from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And at the end of the first half of play, the Bridgeport Purple Knights lead Post University 6-0. We got 45 minutes left in the 2024 season for your women's soccer team. They trail 6-0 right at the moment against Bridgeport. They'll see if they can get something working here in the second half. And while they meet up to figure out things at halftime, we'll throw on a Media Day video for you to get you ready for one of your winter teams. Men's and women's basketball kicking off in the next couple days, so we'll give you one of those here on YouTube and on the CACC network, and be back in about 15 minutes or so here from Lemoy Field. We're here with our post-university men's basketball 2024-25 Media Day, joined by graduate student Harrison Warnock. Harrison, you're coming off an injury last year, kind of came back quicker than you expected to. Now you're fully healthy. What are you looking forward to this year?
Oh, man, I'm just really excited to finally be back on two legs after, you can see in the film, even looking back, just hobbling around for most of the season. So I'm excited to see what I can really do and what I can really bring to the table for this team and see how well we can mesh together.
And what was that like last year, kind of coming back all of a sudden and reintegrating yourself into a bigger role than you thought you were going to have coming off of surgery?
Yeah, I mean, definitely had some ups and downs. In the beginning, my head wasn't there. I was just thinking about, if I just didn't get hurt, everything like that. But my teammates always had my back. They kept pushing me. They kept saying, keep going, like you'll be fine, and it all worked out.
How do you integrate the newcomers onto this roster? There's only a couple of them, but still integrating them into the culture that you talked about back in March when we talked about the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I see us as a team that we really buy into what Coach is trying to tell us and push us in the right direction. So I feel like especially some of the older guys like Tyler and I have been here for forever at this point, so we can definitely bring them along and show them the ropes and see how everything's supposed to go down.
And then pretty much the same team as last year, give or take a few people, and then obviously the newcomers. What do you think this group can accomplish this year?
I definitely, I'm excited to see. As long as we can, keep our heads together and, keep having each other's backs and we buy into what Coach is trying to teach us and what he wants us to do, I think we can definitely make a big season this year. So I'm excited for that.
We're joined here by Dang Dieng and Bull Acott. Guys, 1-2 punch in offense last year. Both were all conference. Dang, you were all region. How do you guys set the tone for this season?
I think we're going to come back with the same energy and just show that we're the most dominant team and be the most aggressive team in the conference and be one of the best teams in the country. So I think we just start by having a good season, going hard right away, and just proving that we are the same team from last year and even better.
I agree with that, but I also think that we just need to come back with the same mentality but with some more. And we've been in this situation before because from last year we just got piggyback, just up our intensity and our focus, our energy and everything, and just lead the team as we did last year, but just with some more maturity and, yeah, overall.
Yeah, and Bull, you talked about last year your desire to win it all. So what do you have to do to help make that happen this year, do you feel?
I think I just got to lead by example and just to make sure, because I know Kuntz believes that we can win, and I believe we can win. So as I instill that to all of us in the locker room, I feel like we can all be on the same page because we all know we can win.
And then, Dang, you got a lot of looks after the year was over, and you had a very dominant year, like I mentioned, all region. What brought you back to Post for this chance at another NCAA tournament run?
It's a family environment over here, These are my guys, Bull, Rob, Harry, the rest of the team. Coach Kuntz is a really good coach. And, you can't get that feeling from everywhere. Like, you might go somewhere, but you might not be wanted as much or you might not be valued as much. So it's about just being where you're valued and where you can be the best you. So I think Post will help me do that.
And then lastly, pretty much the same team from last year, give or take a couple guys. But what do you think overall this team can accomplish?
I think we can win the whole thing. I think we should come back this year and win the CACC championship because we deserve to, and we've been through a lot. So I think that's where we start. It's just building games one by one and keep going and playing hard the whole year. And I think we should end up in the tournament again.
Yeah, I definitely think we can win it all. And it just starts literally preseason and stacking up good days in each and every day and then taking it one game at a time. But I really believe that we can win it all. Starting with the CACC, go to the tournament, and win everything.
We're here with Tyler Small, who's coming back to the team after missing all last year with injury, and Tyler kind of going off of that. What was it like sitting out last year? What are you most excited about coming into this year?
I'd say last year was really tough. It was hard because when I came to school, I was like, okay, I'm going to play. I am getting off injury, but, I'm ready to go. And then after the first couple, preseason workouts, shoot-arounds, I'm like, all right, I'm not at 100%. And it was nice because Coach was willing to hear me out and gave me the opportunity to redshirt and actually get back to full health. But that doesn't mean that I took last season off. I feel like I was almost like an assistant coach and kind of helping our really new team last year integrate and being able to almost be like a liaison sometimes between them and Coach and just helping them really get into a flow. And I think now, this year, it's going to really show that I've been able to at least stay in touch with everybody, and really I think we're going to have a really good chemistry coming out.
Talk about that role a little bit too last year, what it was like being on the bench with the players. I know I was at one of your practices around Halloween and you were dressed up like Wario and you were very involved still with the practices and stuff.
I think because one thing that Coach was really serious about was kind of making sure that I'm still engaged mentally, and being in practice and kind of having a more elevated role was good for me to really stay involved and stay vocal and still kind of hopefully give off a leadership image and be able to get people to buy in early. When you have a new team, it is difficult, and that's like one of the hardest things. And I think it really worked because being a player coach kind of, they were able to say, you know what, maybe it's not just coach yelling at us this time, but maybe there's something to it, and they just gave them a different perspective.
Now, pretty much a similar team to last year. What are you most excited about being back on the court with this squad for? What do you think they can accomplish?
I think we had a great team last year. I think Coach really got everyone together, and we have some good players, which is always a benefit. But I think this year now, hopefully I could just add a little bit something to that, maybe whether that be outside shooting, maybe it's just extra defense. And I think really we just have to find our flow early and be unselfish and be able to, share the wealth. I think we have a lot of pieces, and it's all about just coming together as a team and working towards our common goal.
We're here with head coach Mark Kuntz as we round out the men's basketball 2024-25 Media Day. Coach Kuntz heading into his 8th season with the team, 9th overall. Coach, what did it mean to be part of history with this program last year?
It was unbelievable, Mike. When I took the job 9 years ago, didn't really know what I was stepping into, and then had to go through over a lot of hurdles to get the program to a respectable place and then to a championship level, and then just to be able to do it for the first time in school history, make that accomplishment with those group of guys was just an unreal experience.
And talk a little bit about, we saw some photos with your daughter at the selection show and after your win against St. Thomas Aquinas up there. How special was it to be able to enjoy that with your family?
Yeah, she's around all the time. She's a part of this place. She's like my associate head coach. I call her all the time. She always asks what's going on. So having her there, for the selection show, because she's a part of it, having her in Vermont was just great. Brought her in the locker room. Something she'll forget, but I'll never forget. And those memories are, you can't talk about it. My wife, my mother, my brother were up in Vermont as well. So just to be able to share that with them gives the accomplishment 10 times. Not even that, more than that, makes it even more valuable.
And, of course, you've been here for a while, seen those ups and downs of the program to build it to what it is now. Talk about what's gone into that culture change and building the program to where it is.
Yeah, I think it starts with the players. You've got to have good players or else, you're not a good coach. And not that I am a good coach, bad coach, whatever. We've just got it to the point where we've figured out the players that can help us win. We need tough guys that are athletic and really compete, and they want to win. And the last 5 years, we've had those guys. And it took some time to figure out who and what to get there. And now we're getting those guys, and it's just kind of now passing off year to year. Now the new guys are learning from the older guys what it takes to survive. Because as you well know, I'm not easy to play for. I hold guys accountable. But I think that's why, we're as good as we do, because I hold them every day, every play to a certain level, and there's accountability. And with that, it's not easy. And I think now these older players are teaching the younger players. And when you've got that culture, I don't like using the word culture a lot, but when you have that, it's really makes my life a lot easier.
And this year you're returning pretty much a majority of that NCAA tournament team outside of one or two guys, I think, and you're getting back Tyler Small this year. You're bringing in 4 or 5 newbies.
Yes.
What do you think this program can do this year based on that?
I think these guys can do as much as they want. Last year was great. We didn't shoot the ball great. I think that's our biggest thing. I've talked to the guys. You have to shoot the ball better. If we want to do what we did last year and beyond, we've got to shoot it better. And that's in their hands. I don't make shots. Last time I checked, I don't step on the floor. So that's in their hands. And it's going to be my job to kind of manage, because now that we've won, there's kind of an ego, right? There's an expectation for certain guys, and we've got guys that want to play after their career. So managing that is going to be my job, but when we go out there, we just have to be the hardest playing team in the region, like we talked about last year. I think we'll do that. But if we can make more shots, this team can be special.
Head coach Mark Kuntz, eighth season with the team, 9th year overall. Post men's basketball will get underway at the beginning of November with their season already receiving votes in the national poll heading into the 2024-25 campaign. All right, we're back here at Lemoyne Field, about 45 seconds away from kicking off the second half. And it's probably a second half, again, I don't want to be too negative here. It's probably a first half that the Eagles would like to forget. It's 6-0 Bridgeport, and they don't have any shots on goal. Not to say, though, they can't turn things around. Now, will it necessarily result in a win? Maybe not. If they did win this game 7-6 or something, it would be the largest comeback in program history. They would take a lot of work to do that here. It looks like we're going to get a new goalie in, too, in the second half. Can't see the number as of right now. But we will get a new goalie, it looks like, in the second half as Lopez is warming her up. While they're doing that, we'll get you some numbers from the first half of play. So, again, like I mentioned, 6-0 Bridgeport. 7 assists in total for the Purple Knights, 21-4 in shots overall, 10-0 in shots on goal, 4-2 in corners. They got one yellow card. Fouls are 7-4 post. 2 offsides for Bridgeport. 6 goals allowed. Aaron Nisbet with 4 saves. Lopez didn't have to make any saves in that first half. Looks like it's going to be Helena Dahlstrom, the Stockholm, Sweden native, the senior goalie, taking the net for the next 45 minutes. Maybe not 45, and then maybe someone else comes in, too, with one of the goalies that they have on this squad, because there are a couple others. But that's what it's looking like right now for Bridgeport to start the second half. A few newbies into the game. Can't quite tell you right off the bat from looking here of who they are. But there are a couple of newcomers to the pitch here in the second half as we are ready to kick things off in the second half here. Mike Vesey joining you live here from Lemoyne Field. Again, if you're joining us later today, we will see you at the women's volleyball match at the Drubner Center. Matt Scalzo will have the call for you on that one. Tomorrow, men's ice hockey first home game. Jeff Nelson and Pete Whitney with the call from Hamden, Connecticut at the Louis Astrino, I apologize if I'm botching that name, Arena tomorrow. And then Pete Whitney and Max Stapleton will have the call on Saturday for that one. Jeff Nelson will be at football for that finale. For football in the fall season, they're 1-8, looking to try and right the ship as they've been on an 8-game losing streak after winning their first game of the season against West Virginia Wesleyan College at home. Free kick coming here for the Eagles. Believe that was Alyssa Hebb. It was. Goes wide of the net. Meyer not able to get to it. So recapping the goals from the first half here momentarily. Trying to get them. There was a lot of stuff that happened in that game. So first goal of the game came from Javen Howarth. The second goal of the game came from Javen Howarth with the help of Brooke Boucher, as well as, trying to find the name here, Christy Yazjeski. Tatiana Lissaraga got the third goal with the help of Chloe Uden and Javen Howarth. Chloe Uden would then go get the penalty kick goal to make it 4-0. Louisa Macedo with the fifth goal from Brooke Boucher. And then Ellen Lundeberry with the help of Pia Laura Wisniewski and Sandra Pedersen made it 6-0. That was in the 34th minute, so the Eagles were able to hold for the final 11 minutes or so. Again, 45 minutes left in the Eagles season. 2-12 will miss out on the CACC tournament for a second straight year. I don't want to make it sound like I'm harping on any of it, too. For those just joining in here in the second half, want to make sure that you're informed on the situation that we're in. Bridgeport is playing for seeding right now. I'm trying to get the standings up on my phone as we speak to see where they stand and maybe get you some score updates from around the CACC. So Jefferson and Caldwell have locked up the 1 and 2 spots right now. Georgian Court right now in third at 8 and 2. Wilmington University 7-2 and 1 in fourth. So that's why there's still something to be decided between the 3 and 4. Bridgeport and Holy Family are tied at 5 and 5. Holy Family is taking on Jefferson. So this win for Bridgeport could at least get them into the 5th spot. Dominican at 4 and 2 is off the pace of them right now. Chestnut Hill College at 4 and 6 looks to try and sneak into that playoff spot. Goldie Beacon behind them. And then Felician and Post tied at 2 and 8 in second to last behind Lincoln University. Looking at the bottom here, the playoff notes on the CACC site. Jefferson is locked into the 1. Caldwell, Wilmington, and Georgian Court in some order regarding how the final seeding works out. Those 4 teams will host the quarterfinal match, no matter what, on Monday, November 11th. A winner tie from Chestnut Hill in the regular season finale, or a Goldie Beacon loss in the regular season finale, will lock up the final playoff spot for Chestnut Hill. And Goldie Beacon needs a win and a Chestnut Hill loss during the regular season finale to earn that final playoff spot. Looking at all of the scores around the CACC right now as we continue here at the start of the first half, no one playing right now. Actually, we're the only game of the day, so I apologize. But there was a couple of games. Nope, those were on Monday, and it was the makeup game for Post on the road 5-0 loss to Georgian Court, and then the finish of the suspended game between Caldwell and Bridgeport. But there are a couple games tomorrow. Dominican against Felician, Holy Family against Jefferson, like we mentioned, Goldie Beacon and Wilmington, and Georgian Court and Chestnut Hill. Those 2 teams will kick off at 7. Goldie Beacon, Wilmington at 3. Holy Family, Jefferson at 2. Dominican and Felician at 1 p.m., which will round out the 2024 regular season for women's soccer in the CACC as the tournament, like I mentioned, gets underway on Monday with the top 8 teams in the tournament. Post, though, with a win today would ensure that they would at least finish 10th in the conference. If Felician and them tie because of tiebreaker, they will also finish 10th in the conference. So that's where the Eagles will stand at the end of this year, no matter what the outcome of today's game could make the difference between 10th and 11th. But won't make any difference in playoff seeding, as, like I mentioned, they have been eliminated from playoff contention completely. They were eliminated 2 games ago at home against Chestnut Hill in that 4-3 loss. Jordan Callis kicking it over to the middle of the Klutzer. Klutzer with the shot. Dahlstrom tested for the first time. That's going to be the first shot on goal for the Eagles. It comes 50 minutes into the game. Reese Klutzer with the first shot on goal for the Eagles today. They had 4 in the first half, like I mentioned. That's the first one on goal. 1 save for Dahlstrom now so far in her first half of play here in this one. Lopez played the first half, faced 4 shots, none of them on net. Shadows starting to creep in on the right side of the field. So like I mentioned, a little bit difficult to see the right side of the field already from our vantage point, but dark shadows along with dark colored jerseys will kind of make it a little bit more tricky to try and see. And again, the post numbers are a little bit small too. Not that they're impossible to read, and you can kind of tell who's who just because we've been here doing this all year. This is our 9th home game of the season. But still, a little bit of leeway in terms of we'll probably all of a sudden not say anything for a moment if can't tell who it is. Right now, Bridgeport, though, kind of controlling the ball, but Post has made a little bit of a rush here to start the second half in terms of offensive opportunities. Bridgeport, again, leading 6-0. Largest margin of victory right now, largest margin of deficit, largest deficit the Eagles have faced, this season and since the Southern Connecticut game last year, which they lost at home 6-0 in that one early part of the season, before they got a few wins under their belt. Eagles finished with 9 losses last year. If they do lose this game, it will also be their most losses since the early 2000s. It'll be their worst record since, if I remember correctly when I was checking the notes, 2004. At what would be 2-13. But again, it ain't over until it's over. We still got 38 minutes to go here in the second half of this one. Anything can happen. You don't want to close the door on what could potentially be an amazing comeback for the program. But you'll take the little things in this one. And in my opinion, all it takes is 1 goal. 2 goals in the second half for Post that push them in the right direction towards that spring season. Just give yourself a little bit momentum going into the spring and piece together some little things that went well here in the second half. And so far, like I said, I'll try and point them out. You saw some good offensive pressure there in the second half to start from the Eagles offense. Reese Klutzer getting that shot on goal against Dahlstrom, the first one of the day on goal. So, hey, we're building off of little things right now if you're the Eagles to kind of take forward with you. And like I mentioned on the Bridgeport side of things, you're getting a lot of different players into the game that may not normally see regular minutes because of where the score is at right now. And by doing that, you get them ready and tuned up for the tournament, get them some momentum. You already have momentum rolling into the tournament now with this big 6-0 win. So things are looking up if you're on the Bridgeport side in all facets of the game. Eagles looking to build off of something small here in the second half because the first half didn't go how they would have hoped to. Shorthanded, obviously, like I mentioned, with a lot of players. A lot of players, even if they are playing, you got to give them credit for playing. 2 people on the bench, which means minutes are going to be high for some of these players. But on top of that, a few of these players, I don't have names. I wouldn't name them anyways if I did know. But a few players are playing a little bit, not at full strength. At this time of year, you're not going to be playing 100%. So a few players are dealing with bumps and bruises too and are playing through it right now and giving a really great effort to try and keep themselves in this game and give themselves a little bit of momentum and build off of the small things. Callis taken down there near the box by number 34, Shari Vasquez. Be a free kick, though. I got to imagine it'll be taken by Heb, who leads the team in goals this year. Alyssa Heb, a career high in goals, 8 goals, 16 points on 30 shots, by the way, 16 of those on goal. She's got 1 penalty kick, and she's responsible for the 2 game-winning goals for the Eagles in those 2 wins that they have this year. Few people lined up for the Eagles over there. It looks like Ree Morrison, Jordan Callis, and Alyssa Heb. But I have to think Heb will take this kick and be able to fire it on Dahlstrom. She can get it over the wall of Bridgeport defenders. 35 minutes to go here in the second half, and Heb will look to fire on. Callis faked it. Heb shot wide. Dahlstrom will have the goal kick out of harm's way for the Purple Knights. So Heb with an opportunity there, just not able to push it into the right side of the post like she wanted to. Goes wide of the net. So if the score holds, it would be the fewest wins in a single season for Post University since 2004, when they finished 2-15-2. With 13 losses, it would be their most losses since 2009 and 10 when they finished with 13 losses. But those years they finished with 5-4 wins. In conference play at 2-9 with a loss, it would be the same amount of wins that they had as last year in conference, the most losses in conference since 2012. But like I mentioned, you're kind of rebuilding this year with a young team, a shorter team in terms of how many players you have, and you had to deal with a lot of injuries throughout this year, which kind of changed game planning. If you think about it in a lot of respects, if you have your starting 11 coming into a year and then players get injured, whether it's, freak accident or whatever, Reese Klutzer, wide of that one, just missed it inside of the post on Dahlstrom. So again, we're building off the little things. Eagles getting some nice pressure here, some nice shots here against Dahlstrom to start the second half. You kind of have that starting 11 that you anticipate you're going to have on opening day, but then as time goes on, you have players that suffer injuries like the Eagles have had in a few regards, and that leads to you having to change your starting lineup. Now, a lot of times people may say, well, one player's out, now somebody else goes in. What's the difference? They're playing at the collegiate level for a reason, because they're good. But it matters because of chemistry on the field. Now, you work on it in practice, but in a game speed, a lot of things change. You're playing against different opponents. You can play against your teammates, but when you play against some more skilled teams and teams that may have a little more depth, teams that may have a little more experience, teams that may have some different looks than what you can do in practice, it kind of changes how you're able to approach the game. And with that in mind, with Renato Topali having to adjust the starting lineup as the year goes on due to injuries coming from the team, players have to learn it because you have, like I mentioned, a lot of young players who played off of the bench last year. Young players being thrust into the starting lineup that need to learn how to work with each other, which comes with practice, comes with games, get that chemistry to work together and build off of something. And they have, as the year's gone on, began to mesh better and better. But there's still a lot of growing pains you're going to go through, a lot of work you have to do to get there. Now, Erin Nisbet, despite what the numbers will say of her having a winless record in goal, and also on top of that, giving up on average about 2 goals per game, numbers don't tell the full story in regards to how good she has been in a lot of these scenarios to keep it from being a larger deficit when she's in those one-on-one breakaway opportunities. So numbers don't always tell the full story, but also in terms of that record too, you have to look at what the Eagles were dealt with this year, and a bunch of injuries. Jada Starks in the preseason suffered a torn ACL against AIC. Larissa Blunchley had to medically retire due to a concussion. As it was her second or third, you heard from her about that in the Senior Day game on our post-game broadcast. Christina Fagerman and Hannah Van Sice suffered some injuries later on in the season, as well as Taylor Gottsigan. So that changes how you have to approach the game with a not as deep bench as you go on, but also on top of that, dealing with the issues of trying to get people to mesh together, which takes time, and it doesn't happen overnight. So as the team has gone on throughout the year, different looks, meshing together, very important stuff, and they can take that with them into the spring season as they continue to work together, get some people back healthy, hopefully, as we see a turnover here. Ree Morrison fires on net, swallowed up by Dahlstrom, her third save of the second half. Build off of those little things and build off of that stuff that you've done in the fall season, especially with all these different looks. And then when you get some players back healthy, it'll help you out too. And Nisbet, as I mentioned, with being in goal too, Hannah Marriott did suffer a concussion earlier in the season too, which kept her out for a couple of weeks. Marriott, you've seen play the field the last couple of games, but with that, Nisbet had to take on more of that goalkeeper role where she's in there all the time. Not to say there's a ton of games to be played and you have a lot of rest in between a lot of times between games, but still, it doesn't give you that backup that Marriott provides you in case you need somebody to come in a scenario where, Nisbet gives up 6 goals and may need a breather just from playing for a little bit. You don't have that opportunity as much when you're missing your backup goalie. So you've had to go through a lot. There's been a lot of trials this year that the Eagles have had to fight through. And to their credit, win or lose, they have been fighting hard to try and get those opportunities to score and win games, and have been right in pretty much every game until these final few games down the stretch where they've just kind of been manhandled just because of that short staff that they have in terms of personnel off of the bench. Where if I look to my right in Bridgeport, they've probably got about 18 players that are suited up and ready to go, whereas the Eagles right now, just due to injuries, don't have that same depth that they can go to. Ika with the corner kick now. 30 minutes remaining here in the second half. Gets that one in front. Dahlstrom going to swallow it up before, looks like that was Zoe Meyer or Aliana Bodwin, who's been good on those corner kicks to get a header in there, able to do anything. Eagles, I will say, in this second half had a lot of offensive opportunities and a lot of control of the ball, whereas Bridgeport was making a lot of those aggressive pushes in the first half. Not to say that Bridgeport hasn't done it in the second half, but Post has been able to get more going with the offense and get some good shots on Dahlstrom. Again, this is the little things that you can build off as your season comes to a close, no matter what the record says. Eagles on the throw-in here on their side of the pitch. Cannot see because of the sun and shadows who that is throwing it in. I believe that's Taylor Morales. Yep, that is. And Anna Ika now with it. They run into each other and it goes out of play, but it'll still be post ball. The Eagles have done a good job of limiting the offensive opportunities in the second half that Bridgeport has had. And again, it should be noted, because we just want to make note of it, that Bridgeport is playing not as many of their starters as they were in the first half, with having had that 6-0 lead and having, the understanding they are heading to the CHCC tournament in a few days. You want to rest some of your players, and if they are, again, banged up or bruised, make sure that they have enough time to get healthy, and by not having to play as many minutes, that does help them. And kudos to Bridgeport jumping out to that 6-0 lead, allowing them to have that time to be able to breathe and time to get their players in and out of games. Get some different looks, get some different rotations. And I talk about the idea of chemistry and getting different people in to see how things look offensively and defensively. This is a perfect opportunity for Bridgeport to do that right now. Get a few different looks in there, see how things kind of look with those players out there. Get them some chemistry with each other, because you don't know what can happen in the CACC tournament, where maybe some of these players do need to jump in who aren't regular players or don't get as many minutes per game. Now they're seeing a lot of playing time here in the second half of a 6-0 game, that it'll allow them in the second half in the CACC tournament, if called upon, to be able to step right in and say, Coach, I've got this. And if you're head coach Tanya Armelino, excuse me, I want to make sure I pronounce it right, you got to like what you're seeing from this team in this game, getting the offense going early and often and jumping out to that 6-0 lead. We see Bridgeport getting a little more pressure now here in these last couple of minutes, maintaining the ball. On the offensive side of the pitch, that's Vasquez with it before she's got it taken away. Towards the middle, Klutzer has had some open space and some opportunities this year. In this game, I should say. She has had a lot of opportunities this year. Reese Klutzer with 22 shots, 10 of which on goal. And I will say, again, it's the little stuff that stats don't show. She's got one goal. But those 10 shots on goal, she's had a few opportunities to score and hasn't been able to bury it. Has had some space in front where the defense wasn't in front and just pushed it wide left or right, wide right of the goal. But she's had some very good looks. And look, it's a difficult game. When you're in that moment trying to shoot that ball with defense either pressure behind you or the goalie coming into pressure in front of you, it can be very difficult in those high-pressure situations to be able to get that ball straight on goal. I understand it completely, because it's a different thing than when you're just playing in your backyard or one-on-one on the pitch with your teammates to take that shot, or in any sport when you're playing basketball on a breakaway layup. If you're playing hockey on a breakaway, you see a lot of times things don't go as they normally would in a practice or just playing by yourself, because it's a different animal. You're in game mode and you have 5 people, 11 people, however many people are on the field, the court, the ice, chasing after that ball. And now you have to think about that. I mean, I didn't play by any means at a high level of sport. Played a lot of rec ball when it came to basketball. And there are times where that becomes a high-pressure situation where you have that layup in a close game or, a tied game trying to give your team the lead, and you're feeling that defense coming up behind you. You rush that shot, and that's how things can kind of change. But it's a lot different depending on what you're playing at, what level, what scenario you're in, where it can be tough to convert on those shots. So again, she's had a lot of opportunities, but it's important to note not everything is going to go how you would always plan it to or hope it would go. A lot of neutral zone play here for the Eagles. Klutzer just tackled a girl and is just kicked her now. Now, I believe they're going to get a clock stoppage, and that's going to be a yellow.
Yeah, Maya, go ahead. Maya's going
I'm pretty sure that.
Go ahead. I got you. Thank you very much. I got you.
Looks like they're not going to. I can't see just because of where I am. I didn't see a yellow card come out. However, in my mind, from what I saw at this angle, that looks like it should have been a yellow card. Not for the initial hit, because there was a little pushing and shoving from both sides, but Klutzer took her down to the ground in kind of a tackle almost, and then as she got up, I couldn't really see it. It looked like threw a foot towards her and may not have made contact, but it was not a pretty look. And that's the kind of stuff you don't want to have on the pitch if you're any of the Eagles. Making sure you keep your emotions in check. I know it's frustrating. It's been a long season record-wise, and this game is kind of 6-0 right now. But you want to make sure you keep your emotions in control down the stretch here. Play your game and do the best you can to just kind of move forward with the positives that you can take away from it. And that's something you don't want to be doing in these moments like this, especially getting carded or anything, which that wasn't a card there, but could have easily been, and it could have even been close to a red card with the contact that was elicited there by Klutzer on it. But we move forward here into the game. Free kick for Bridgeport. 24 and a half-ish minutes remaining in the season for Post. Dingenouts kicking it in. That's wide of the goal mouth. It will be a goal kick for Nisbet. Eagles maintaining control of it on the defensive end of the field. And the Shadows, I will say, could play an interesting, again, if it was a much closer game, it would be something really to heavily emphasize. But I will say, as the sun sets earlier in the day, because it sets around 5:30, unfortunately now, the shadows that are creeping onto the field because of the trees could prevent a goalkeeper from being able to see the ball as easily. You kind of think about it from a baseball perspective, as those shadows from the stadium come over home plate. Harder for the batter to see the ball as they're trying to hit it. But on the pitch, the left side of the pitch from my vantage point is all sunny. The right side's all shade. If a player were to kick it from the corner even and kick it into the shadows, it may change the way things kind of transpire in terms of Erin Nisbet being able to see that ball coming towards her. So just some interesting things to note because of the way the shadows are coming in, how it may affect a way a goalie or even a player can see that ball coming towards them. I mean, it's white and bright, so it should be pretty easy to see. But, you know, you can still have your difficulties when you're going from this bright sun in your eyes going into the shade that's right in front of the goal. Throw in for the Eagles. Klutzer's got it. Out to Meyer. Heb is going to slide in. That was a good play on the ball. They're going to call a foul on it, though. Heb was trying to play the ball to move it forward and just got tangled up there with Dingenouts. So it'll go the other way. Bridgeport, 22 minutes remaining in this one. 6-0 Bridgeport. All their goals coming in the first half of this. Very aggressive start to the game, and they didn't let off the pedal for that entire half. Jordan Callis ahead to Klutzer. Klutzer tried to get it to Ika, wasn't able to do so, and now it'll be kicked out there by Ledsma. Meyer strips it at midfield, and now, Ika's going to get in and try and push it ahead to Klutzer. Klutzer's going to be called offsides. And she's asking how, but way back here you could see that I couldn't see it. From my vantage point, from where the ref is calling it, it looks like she had about 4 steps on her, but that breakaway from it really started to come about 5 yards after where the ref is. I'd have to see a replay on that, honestly, to see how close it really was from the vantage point of where the sideline ref called it from. But I would have to say it looked like she was a couple steps off sides on that one. Bridgeport ball, 21 minutes to go. And Ika with a nice interception on the offensive side. Anna Ika down the right side, kicks it towards the goal, and that is blocked by Vasquez, who gets it away. Excuse me, that's not Vasquez, that's Leak. No, that is Vasquez. Sorry, had a little bit of trouble seeing the number from right here. I apologize again, that was actually Leak. It was 24, not 34. Callis trying to apply some pressure to Dahlstrom. 20 minutes now remaining. Dahlstrom going to get ready to kick this one away. Dahlstrom to about midfield, and that one's going to be kicked down over there by Moore, Sarah Moore in the game. And now the other way comes Hebb with it. Alyssa Hebb trying to dance around Leak. Can't do it now. Hebb fires. Ooh, just wide. And again, because of where I'm located from calling this game, that looked a lot closer to me, and it probably was close. But it looked like it was going into the right side of the net. Depth perception in the line of my vision of where I am makes it a little bit tougher to see just how close to the goal mouth it is. But it looked like that was just outside of the crossbar and have nearly, the post. To give Post potentially their first goal of the game. They're trying to break a streak of a shutout. They've been shut out for the last game in a few minutes as we had an injury, a player. Excited, it was Michaela Kennedy who got hurt. Elizabeth Pitts will be coming onto the pitch. Kennedy struggling to put weight, it looks like, on the left leg. Kind of has crawled off of the pitch to try and get out of play and get a sub into the game. So Kennedy exits, the senior from Quincy, Mass. And in comes Elizabeth Pitts, the junior defender / midfielder from Raymond, New Hampshire, as they'll work with her on the sideline. We'll try and give you an update as the game goes on, if there's anything we hear or see. And we don't want to obviously speculate on anything it may be, but we'll let you know when she's at least up on her feet and everything. But she's being looked at right now by the Bridgeport athletic trainer over to our right. Bridgeport ball. That's Dingautis with it. Over to Ledsma. Working around with it is, can't see a number on her. It looked like it was Joof. Yeah, that was. Throwing now on this side for Pitts. We slowly close in on the end of the women's soccer season. Cross pass by Joof, and now that one's fired just wide of the goal by Dingenouts. Be a goal kick for Nisbet. Men's golf season came to a close already. Women's tennis season came to the close already. Women's tennis also did miss the CACC tournament, men's golf, finishing in the middle of the pack of their championship. Men's cross country, Drew Paskanik ran at the cross country championship last weekend and finished within the top 30 in a time of exactly 30 minutes, which was a personal best for him. Football will not make it to the NE10, well, it's just the NE10 championship game for football. They just take the top few teams and have them battle out for the NE10 title. It's not tournament format. So their season will come to a close this week. Men's soccer, like I mentioned, CACC tournament starting on Sunday here at Lemoy Field. 1 o'clock start against either Holy Family or Jefferson. Griffin Castle will be on the call for that one. Women's volleyball trying to clinch a home game tonight with a win. In the CACC tournament in about 2 weeks from now on that Tuesday. They're 11-1 in conference play. They'll be in the conference tournament. And then we look towards winter. Men's and women's basketball kicking off this weekend at a pair of invites. For the Eagles, the men's side, returning most of their players, they will kick off the tip-off tournament in Bridgeport, while women's will go up to St. Mike's for a pair of games against SNHU and St. Mike's. Women's ice hockey already got underway, 2-8 to start the year with 2 wins in conference play. 1 against Franklin Pierce, 1 against St. Mike's. Got swept this past weekend against Assumption, but Rowan Ringer named Rookie of the Week after scoring 3 of the 4 goals for Post. Men's ice hockey just kicked off their season last week. Lost in overtime to Fitchburg State University 3-2. You'll see them tomorrow afternoon down in Hamden taking on St. Mike's. So that's a look at where we're at right now. If I try and do the math in my head coming into today, we had 7 sports currently still in action or getting underway this week. 4 winter sports and 8 sports coming into the day still had games to be played, with the both soccer teams, volleyball, football, and then all the winter teams getting underway. So that's where we stand around the Eagles, if you didn't watch this week's video on YouTube. With women's soccer's team season coming to a close and a couple of teams vying for CACC championships coming up in the coming weeks, and you can be sure to follow all the action on the Post Eagles website. Live stats, live video for home and road games. Again, if any team is playing an NE10 opponent, which obviously won't happen in the CACC tournament, but if they are, that will be paywalled behind Flow Sports. Styles on the offensive end of the field. You don't see this too much from her because she's usually on defense. Fires wide of the net. Usually see her on the back lines, but they're taking a shot on goal. She's, again, like I mentioned, I'll mention it again just in case you weren't with us in the first half. Few seniors playing their final game today, Bianca Styles being one of them. Aliana Bodwin, even though she's a grad student, will be back next year. Anna Ika, done after today. Larissa Blunchley, even though she's not in the game because she was forced to medically retire from soccer earlier this season, was in her last game earlier this year. And then Hannah Marriott, who I don't think has played in the field in the second half. I apologize, she is out there now, actually, on the right side of the pitch, playing in what we expect to be her final game, but I don't know for sure just because of eligibility things, how that works if she's still got another year of eligibility left to play. Assuming she doesn't, though, this would be her final game on the pitch as well, and Alyssa Hebb as well, if I didn't mention that one already, playing her final game. So a few Eagles saying farewell to the nest in the next 15 minutes. Came in with a very young roster this year and had to work through a lot of bumps and bruises, highs and lows. You had the highs of beating Felician and Lincoln at the time, which put you back into the race for playoff contention. You had some close conference losses, too, that really could have gone either way. In conference play this year, the Eagles lost 2-0 to Wilmington, 2-0 to Goldie Beacom. Beat Felician 3-2 at home. Jefferson and Caldwell, they lost to 5-0 and 4-0. Lost 5-2 to Holy Family, beat Lincoln 3-1, then lost to Minnikin 3-1 on the road. Lost to Chestnut Hill at home 4-3, and then lost to Georgian Court 5-0. So this would, in fact, be this is tied for the most goals that they've allowed this season with that Southern Connecticut game, but it'll be the largest margin of loss if it holds at 6-0 for the Eagles this year since their 6-0 loss to the Owls last year at home early on in the season. So back-to-back years, 6-0 losses at Lemoyne Field for Post University go down as long as the score holds, would go down as their largest losses of their respective seasons. 13 minutes to go here. Hebb kicking it from right on the center dot. Gets it deep in there. Dahlstrom's going to cover it and come out with it for Bridgeport. Dahlstrom looking to throw it to somebody. Punts it towards the middle of the field. Delia Kosoftis comes down with it. And now Styles, who is playing up on the offensive end a lot more, whereas they've pushed, it looks like, Reese Klutzer has been pushed back to defense, and Bianca Stiles is playing midfield now. I think, if I had to guess, they might be trying to see if they can get her a shot on goal or even a goal, with it being her last game of her career here at Post.
This is you. This is Ellie. Get inside.
Marriott also on the front line of this Post offense right now, trying to see what she can do. It'd be her first offensive goal, too, if she were able to put one in. So you got Stiles, Marriott, Ica, and Burns like on the front 3 or 4. Everybody else kind of pushed back. And I'm wondering, too, I don't want to speculate. It's just my thought on based on what we've seen with the shift is maybe, too, maybe they're trying to get Stiles a goal, but also maybe they push Klutzer back because the Bridgeport offense isn't coming as hard as they were in the first half. Applying that pressure where they want to keep her out of a situation where she could potentially get a yellow or red card because she's been playing very aggressively, which is good. You want to see that, but at times a little too aggressive where she's drawn those fouls that have been bordering on the edge of a yellow card, which you don't want to get, obviously. So I think that could have also been a reason, but again, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to pretend that I know exactly what goes into the mindset of where people are moving and shifting onto the field. That's just kind of my thought on what it could potentially be. It could also just be that they're trying to get Stiles maybe a goal, as she usually plays it on the defensive end in her final game of her career here at Post University. Again, she transferred in from Gardner-Webb, D1 school. Has played here ever since. Eagle throw-in, Zoe Meyer. On the bench right now is Jordan Callis and Ree Morrison. Only 13 players active today for the Eagles, so what you see is pretty much what you get outside of the subs that have come in. With 10 minutes to go here. Bridgeport offense really, like I anticipated, talking to people at halftime, was probably not going to come as fierce and trying to really bury Post with any more goals. They're still trying offensively to work something in and get some shots, but they're not pressing as hard to just absolutely hammer Nisbet in goal and try and get the chances that they were early on in the first half of the game, which led to those 6 goals pretty quickly. Bodwin's going to take the kick and try and fire this one deep into the offensive zone. She fires it about to the 40-ish yard line where Ike is there. It bounces over her head and bounces off of Stiles, and Stiles want a call. She gets Rebecca Morris called for a foul. And now Heb at a spot where she can definitely fire it on net. So we'll watch here to see what she does. You might see a runner come across and try and head it in. If I had to guess, it might be Stiles or Marriott. And look at that. It was right to Marriott. She tried to get a foot out to try and get it over Dahlstrom's head as Dahlstrom was coming out. Wasn't able to do so. With 8-ish minutes to go in this one. Klutzer gets it in the backfield. Now kicks it ahead to Stiles. Stiles is going to have some space. Is this her opportunity to do something? Stiles, one-on-one, fires, and it's blocked there by Leak. Corner kick coming for Anna Ica. Eagles looking to see if they can get one back here. Heb is literally in the goal mouth alongside Dahlstrom and a couple of Bridgeport defenders. Ica. Cross, it's blocked in front by Leak. And now back out to Ica. Ica can't get around her defender. Boxing her out over there is Joof. And what great defense by Joof to generate that goal kick. The entire Bridgeport bench going crazy for it. With 7.5 to go here in our season from Lemoy Field. We got at least one more home game here on the pitch this fall, possibly two. If men's soccer were to advance to the semifinals, they would go on to take on the winner of the 4-5 game at home on Wednesday, which would also be a 1 o'clock start here from Lemoy Field. Again, they got to get by the quarterfinals first, but looking ahead to what potentially you could see here at Lemoy Field in the next few days. We got two more outdoor games, and then we're all indoors in the rinks until February when the lacrosse teams will hit the field. And we'll usher in the spring season, which will feature baseball, softball, and the two hockey teams. Excuse me, the spring season featuring the two lacrosse teams. Throw into the middle of the pitch. Juve, who just had that nice defensive play over with it. Looks like they're going to put in another goal. Sky Hernandez, the freshman, might see some playing time here. She's at the sub line. They just need to wait for a stoppage to get her in. And there it is, Sky Hernandez taking the pitch for Bridgeport with 5:54 remaining in this one. Dahlstrom comes off after making some great saves here in the second half. It'll go down as long as the score holds as a combined shutout for Lopez, Dahlstrom, and now Hernandez. Dahlstrom, though, as of right now, the only one with any saves in this one, as Lopez didn't face any shots. 4 shots in the first half for post, none of them on net. Here comes Avia Burns with a head of steam down the left side, trying to avoid contact there from Pitts, who came streaking in, and now Pitts has it back the other way. So we approach the 5-minute mark here in regulation. In about 2.5 hours from now, women's volleyball will be getting underway. 6 o'clock start against Dominican at the Drubner Center. If you're nearby and want to come down, come on down. It should be a good match, which can lock up a quarterfinals matchup at home for Post. A loss? Well, we're not even going to think about that. Fired by Juf, and that's swallowed by Nisbet. To give you an update, too, on Michaela Kennedy, she is up and walking now. She was looked at by both athletic trainers, and she seems to be doing fine now. Fired by Callis wide. Be a goal kick with 4 minutes to go here in the match. Hernandez getting ready to take the goal kick, and she just kicks it off to the side over there to Morris. I'm pretty sure almost all of the Bridgeport team that was available and active today has seen the field. Oh, man. As the game, I'm not even going to talk about it. We're just going to move on from the incident that just happened there on the sideline between both sides. We're at a point in this game where it's really just not necessary to have that in a game that's 6-0 right now between both sides. So we're just going to move on from that one and move forward here with 3.5 minutes to go. Bridgeport with the ball on the defensive side of the field. Looking to throw it in is Pitts, and she does into the backfield over to Leak. as I look through my list of names, pretty sure everybody other than one goalie, Angelina Griva, have come in from the listed players that were available in today's game. Just quickly scrolling through the list that I have in front of me. I think maybe the only one that I haven't seen is Maya Nielsen, number 36. Don't see her anywhere right now. She may have been in the game earlier, honestly, and I may have missed it. As I say that, I find Maya Nielsen on the right side of the field. So, yeah, as I look at this entire list, everybody available except for Angelina Griva have seen the field in this matchup today. That were available because the Purple Knights did have a few people listed as being out. Ika over the head of a Bridgeport defender over there. That was Ellard. Burns double-teamed over there trying to get the ball. Bridgeport's done a good job of boxing out, and that one's hit towards me, and it almost comes up here. Just short. 2 minutes remaining in this one. Great job, I will say, in the second half by the Bridgeport defense, boxing out the post defenders as they've tried to get down that right side of the pitch with the ball. They've done a really good job of playing keep away from the Eagles in those scenarios. That one's just booted away. It'll be another goal kick for Hernandez. Referee on the near side here talking to the Bridgeport players who I guess are saying stuff to players on the pitch. I don't really know. Stiles trying to make something happen here, and she crosses it over to Hebb. Oh, man, that was dangerous in terms of Hernandez nearly took a cleat. But she gets rid of that one, so the score remains 6-0 as we approach 1 minute remaining in the match. So the Eagles season coming. There's 2 balls on the field. That is not something that they do in the final minute of the game. They do not play with 2 balls, although that would make it a lot more interesting in terms of scoring if both teams had a ball out there on the pitch. It would really change the way that teams set things up in terms of who you put on offense and defense. And do you go after both or just one? Anyways, Hebb to kick this one towards the net. Swallowed up by Hernandez. You got to think she's probably not going to kick it away. She's probably just going to roll it to a defender, and they'll just try and hold on. And nope, she's going to kick it away to midfield. Juf under it. Not able to get there. Klutzer kicking it back to Nisbet. Nisbet now back out to midfield as we approach 30 seconds and counting, and now we're down to 20. Come up on the 10-second countdown done by yours truly here on YouTube and the CACC network. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And with that comes the end of the 2024 women's soccer season for Post University. They fall in this one 6-0 to the Purple Knights. All 6 goals coming in the first half. Eagles will finish the year 2-13 overall, 2-19 in conference play. Give you some quick totals here before we sign off and head on over to women's volleyball. Close this one out for you here first, though. Looking at the final stats. 6 goals, 7 assists, 24 shots to 17 for Post. So the shots were a lot closer in the second half, but Bridgeport, again, was playing a little bit less aggressive than they were in that first half. Shots on goal, 11-4 in favor of the Purple Knights, 5-4 in favor of them in corners, 1 yellow card for Bridgeport, 14-13 in fouls, 5 offsides for Bridgeport to Post 2. Aaron Nisbet with 5 saves in net. We look over to the Bridgeport goalies. Sky Hernandez with 2 saves, and then Helena Dahlstrom with 2 saves as well. So Hernandez with 2 saves in 6 minutes. Dahlstrom 2 saves in 39. 45 minutes for Lopez. She did not face a shot. And if you're looking at this Bridgeport team heading into the CACC tournament, I mean, again, it is against a post team that has struggled this year in general, but it's a big win for them to move forward and have momentum going into the tournament. You got to feel good if you're the coaching staff and these players, seeing all of them play, seeing a lot of offensive opportunities, getting a lot of goals early in this one to carry forth with them into the CACC tournament. Now, if you're on the post side, again, it's not the season you wanted, but a lot of growth has come with this year, even if their record doesn't show it. They have improved a lot as the year has gone on. A lot of young players who are going to see a lot more regular playing time next year, now with the departure of some seniors, and you have a lot to build off of going into next year, especially with what we saw in that second half. A lot of good offensive opportunities there from both defenders and offense. You saw a lot of great defensive plays by the Eagles in that second half. You also saw Aaron Nisbet in both halves of this game really just have another outstanding game in net. Again, it's not going to show up in the final box score because it was 6 goals given up. But defensively speaking, when she needed to step up and get those stops in goal, she was doing it to keep the score from getting up any higher. But in general, the Eagles this year, nothing to hang their heads on, as it's obviously an emotional time for them as their seniors depart from this team as they played their final game here at Lemoy Field and in general for this year. But some positives to look forward to as they head into their spring season and head into next fall. We'll be back here next September, maybe late August, with next year's women's soccer team. But until then, Mike Vesey signing off. We'll see you at women's volleyball later with Matt Scalzo. This has been another broadcast here on YouTube and the CACC network of Post Athletics.